So in this video, join me on a self-guided tour of three of Mallorca's most popular historical old towns. We're going to Valldemossa, we're going to Deia and we're going to Sóller, and if we have time we're going to pop on down to Port de Sóller as well. But we're not going there by car today, we're taking public transport because, as you may well know, we are expecting a record number of visitors over here in Mallorca for this summer. Now already I'm saying, if you are hiring a car, it's going to be extremely difficult to park in any of these old towns. So this is why we're taking the bus today, and we're down here in Palma bus station and we're starting our journey on the 203 TIB bus and we're heading in the direction of Valldemossa. So we can see, looking at the board here, right down in the bus station, we're going to be jumping on the 9:40 bus here, the 203, which heads in the direction of Port de Sóller, and you can see that goes through Valldemossa. So that's going to be our first stop today. It's leaving from platform or area 1617, so let's go and head down and find out everything you need to know about travelling by bus in Mallorca in the video I made about this, and I'll drop a link to that in the description text below. So while the 203 TIB bus to Valldemossa filled up very quickly, another bus was brought to cope with the high demand. And we were off on time. So the journey here has taken just 40 minutes. It's actually a really smooth ride as well. There's just one stop on the way too, but it's quite straightforward. The traffic wasn't bad as well. And what a change as well to driving here, because I always normally drive up through the old towns. It's a great way to travel actually, and well, the buses are running on time and there's plenty of space. But let's head on into Valldemossa. I've got about an hour before I get the bus over to Deia. Of course you can spend longer here, but I'm just going to show you a few highlights as well so you can enjoy your stay while you're over here. But come on, let's head on into the old town. But before we head on into Valldemossa, I'm going to ask you to consider subscribing to the channel for the very best holiday guides, travel tips, travel news, weather forecasts as well, to help you plan your holiday to Mallorca. Anyway, come on, let's get going into the centre of Valldemossa. Already it's looking very busy here. We've got lots of tour groups, tour buses and coaches arriving. I do recommend getting here really early though in the morning to get possibly the best experience. So shops open in Valldemossa from just before 10 o'clock in the morning. If you do get here any earlier, well, you're going to find lots of cafes open. You're going to find it's been much quieter. But my recommendation is to maybe get the bus that I got, the 20 to 10 from Palma, to make the most of the early shops opening and just having a few less tourists here. Okay, so I'm right outside the main church here in the centre of Valldemossa, outside the Plaza Katusha or Katoisha, pronounce that how you like. But I've made a rookie mistake here coming to Valldemossa because I'm absolutely freezing. Now, I left Palma this morning, it's 23 degrees. If you're coming up to mountain villages, no matter what time of year, always account for the fact it's going to be about 5 degrees colder, because well, we're up in the hills here, we're up in the mountains, and I should have bought something warm, but I didn't. You'll be okay in July and August, it'll be boiling hot here then, but if you're travelling outside of those months, from May, October, November, whenever, just make sure you wrap up warm. But anyway, come on, we're going to walk around the back of the church. I'm going to show you into the gardens and I'm going to tell you why this hilltop town is so famous. So I'm just outside the ticket office here for the monastery, and there's a huge Carthusian history behind this. It's also a location where composer Frédéric Chopin spent a very famous winter in Mallorca. You can read all about that in the book written by his lover George Sands. But look, if you want to find out more about the history, check this out. There's a QR code here which links towards a free guided tour, so you can find out a little bit more about the history. But for now, let's head on into the gardens. So when I looked at the weather forecast today, it said it was going to be clear and broken sunshine, but you can see we're up here in the hills and the cloud is actually pouring down. You can see it's a little bit grey over here to my left. I'm hoping it's going to clear, but it is one of the beauties of visiting the old towns here. Not least that on a really, really hot day, it's going to be just a little bit cooler up here too. But we're going to head on into the gardens now. They are free to visit. If you want to see what this looks like on a sunny day, then check out a video that I made, I think about 3 years ago now. You can see what it looks like. But they're just a real joy to walk around. Not too crowded today either. We've got lots of tour groups here. But in my opinion, it's not really too busy for the start of the summer season. Got some wonderfully maintained gardens here right in front of the church and the monastery too. So when Chopin stayed in Valldemossa, he did compose some pieces here as well. But the book that was written by George Sands as well was rather disparaging of the locals. I mentioned it in my last video. I don't think they accounted for the fact that it does get very, very cold up here. And on that note, I'm going to go and find a cafe. I need a coffee. It's very early in the morning. And I'm going to show you another reason why visitors come to Valldemossa as well, and what you must try if you're over here on holiday. But don't do as I do, make sure you check out some of the historical museums here, check out the monastery as well. There's plenty to see and do over here in Valldemossa. Let's go and find somewhere to grab a coffee. Now I'm coming out of the centre of Valldemossa from the area around the church. I'm going to see if I can find a cafe just a little bit off the beaten track. The cafes surrounding the church are very, very busy already. Let's go and see if we can find somewhere that's going to be a little bit quieter. Now I'm coming down a street here. We've got some little boutique hotels and hostels. I can see one right in front of me here. And as you come through Valldemossa as well, just make sure you take a look right too and enjoy the views. You can see all the way down towards Palma, right over here in the distance. So quite a lot of traffic over here in the centre of Valldemossa this morning. Don't forget it's not pedestrianised. Take care as well, because a lot of these electric cars come sliding up behind you. We're going to keep walking down. Also, look, across all the doorways here in Valldemossa, you see the little Santa Catalina Thomas plaques here. Very first patron saint of the island, I do believe. So I'm standing outside the Can Molina's bakery here in Valldemossa, and this is the one reason why you must come and visit here, because Valldemossa is very, very famous for the coca da patata. It's a kind of a pastry. It's absolutely delicious. It's a sweet potato bread, not sweet potato, but a sweet potato bread. Very, very nice with a cup of coffee. I'm not sure if they do coffees in here, but I'm going to go and find out. And look, there's nobody in here yet either. The other side of town is absolutely packed, but look, check out all the other delicious pastries that they do over here as well. Very traditional. And they don't do a coffee there, which is such a shame, but that's just an idea of what you can get in the bakeries over here. And that's probably one of the most traditional bakeries you're going to find over here in Valldemossa. Anyway, the search for good coffee goes on. I'm not sure how the locals feel about having tourists streaming past their homes over here. So if you are coming through, especially if you're as part of a group, please be respectful. Don't film inside people's houses. Just enjoy some of the views as you're coming through the streets as well. And just don't make loads of noise either, but look at these little flower displays that you see on the walls over here in Valldemossa. And check out the clouds rolling in across the mountains here in Valldemossa. I cannot tell you how much I regret not bringing a jumper with me today. Hopefully when you visit it's going to be a little bit warmer, but just make sure you arrive prepared. Okay, so I found a cafe to get a coca de patata, which is €1.40. We're going to try that. I mean, the bakery actually does many other little Mallorquin pastries as well, look, including the coca de trampo, kind of like pizza without cheese, I call it. You've got other various pastries too. It looks really nice. It's actually quite inexpensive. I've dived into the nearest place where I can actually sit inside. So let's see what this coca de patata is like. Okay, so instead of going into one of the main bakeries here, I've come into this little local cafe. We've got ourselves a coca de patata. I've got a café con leche as well, a coffee with milk. And the price for that is just €2.90. So I'd say that's pretty good value. Anyway, let's check out this coca de patata. I've opened it up. It's absolutely delicious. If you're over here in Valldemossa, grab one of these. They're super cheap. They're made with potato flour and they put a little bit of sugar on top. They're really, really nice. Best to have though with a hot chocolate over the winter months as well. It really keeps you going. If you're going sightseeing for the day like I am today, definitely get one of those. Anyway, I'm going to quickly eat this and I'm going to go and get the bus over to Deia. So we can see a bus coming in here to Valldemossa and it says bus complete. I don't know if this is going on towards Deia, let's find out. But the good news is that although the bus was full, it almost emptied at Valldemossa, making room to go on to Deia. So I've got off here right at the beginning of Deia. It's the first stop as you come on into Deia. I'm going to recommend you do that too. I've noticed everyone else has stayed on the bus going into the town. But what a change today. I don't need to find any parking spots. It's been actually quite a nice journey. It's about 15-20 minutes from Valldemossa, but we're going to walk on through Deia village. It's just only a shame that we have a cloudy day today. If you want to see what Deia looks like in the sunshine, I've got plenty of content made here in the village. I'll drop some links below this one too, but let's take a walk up through the town because we're going to head now to the Hotel La Residencia. We're going to go and check in on my friend Lisa. So running all the way up through into Deia village, we've got this wooden pathway here which runs by the side of the road. You can also see the bus stop here heading back towards in the direction of Valldemossa as well, but obviously we're not going to go in that direction. Let's keep on heading into Deia village. Now, even with the clouds that we have today, it's quite atmospheric. It's so hard to know what the weather is going to be like here. My weather forecast says bright sunshine. You can see it's not bright sunshine today. And like I said before, we do have microclimates here in Mallorca. So unfortunately, we've got a slightly gloomy day, but again, it gives a different perspective to all my other videos that I have about Deia. So come on, let's keep going. So there are lots of walking routes around Deia as well, up into the mountains here, up into the Tramontana mountains, also down into the valleys as well, and you can also walk down to Cala beach. There is a video which I made last summer as well showing you the way for that, so I'll also drop that link in the description text below. Bring your walking shoes, bring your trainers, don't try and do any of these walks in flip-flops, but this is an absolutely gorgeous area to explore as well. But if you're not coming here to hike, then this route that I'm walking today from the very first bus stop as you get into Deia village right through the centre of Deia is just enough as well before you get onto your next bus down towards Sóller. Just look at the clouds coming down over the mountains here, and the cyclists coming into the town too. This is a big cycle spot over here, actually, over in the mountain villages. This route coming through Valldemossa and Deia. It's particularly busy in April and May because we do have a few key cycling races on. And that's another great reason to get the bus as well, so you don't get frustrated by driving behind packs of cyclists. So you do get occasional moments of peace here as you're coming through Deia village. It's absolutely gorgeous. You can see I'm right in front of I call it the money shot here, in front of the historical town of Deia. It's a UNESCO protected area. It's absolutely beautiful, whatever the weather actually. So if you're coming here, regardless of the weather, just enjoy it. I have to say though, I am still absolutely freezing, and I think it's actually colder here than it was in Valldemossa. Like I said before, don't do what I did. Make sure you carry a light jumper or a coat or something like that in your bag, unless you're coming here in July and August. So that was my biggest mistake today. But anyway, we're going to keep walking on through the village. We're going to head on up towards La Residencia. So as we approach Deia village, the first place you're going to see, the first terrace restaurant you're going to see is from the Font Fresca. Now, I know they do a really good Mallorquin menu del dia. This year it's €13.50. So it's a set menu. You've got a starter here of a chicken salad or cheese salad, or tortilla de patata, which is Spanish tortilla. You've then also got albóndigas, which is meatballs, or gallineta al horno con verduras y patatas, which is a bit of roast, is that roast turkey quite possibly. You also get water and dessert included, so that's really good value over here in Deia. But there are plenty of other places to eat over here in Deia of varying prices as well. Got some really amazing restaurants too, so you really can come over here and spend as much or as little as you like if you're getting lunch. It's maybe the place for you to stop. If not, hang on until you get down to Sóller or Port de Sóller. Let's keep walking through. So just coming on up through the village here, you can see I'm filming this on a Wednesday. And we've got what is possibly the smallest market in Mallorca taking place. Again, I made a video about this last year. Go and check that out. I'll drop the link to that video in the description text below this one. Just look at the traffic coming into Deia today. This is why it's quite a good idea to get the bus. Very few parking spaces, particularly with the market on as well. I can't tell you how happy I am that I got public transport today. I think if we've got a lot of hire cars coming through Deia village, they're not going to be able to stop. They won't find the parking and they're going to have to continue down towards Sóller, where let's face it, they may not find any parking either. But anyway, let's keep going.
From here, there is a short walk to the church through Deia Old Town, which leads onto the cemetery, offering incredible views along the coast, but we won't be doing this walk today.
So I'm going to get the 2:10 bus, I think, from the bus stop just on my left hand side. I've got about an hour and a half to kill, so I'm going to go and see my friends. I'm going to go to the hair salon in the Residencia. Let's head on up and in. I'm just going to take you around the side entrance here because it is very, very pretty. in this area. I have made many videos from around here too. Now, if you're not staying at the Hotel Residencia, they do have a restaurant here. It's called the Ristorante Miro. It is advised, of course, to get a reservation if you're coming here to eat, but I'm just going to run the camera down the menu board so you can get an idea of what is on offer here. Okay, so this might not have much to do with the tour and the itinerary that I'm showing you today, but I've stopped off in the Hotel Residencia. It's actually a really nice thing to do if you're a resident here on the island. This is one of my very best friends, Lisa.
Hiya!
And she's also the only hairdresser at the moment over here in Deia village. So yeah, so if you are coming into Deia, or you do need to get your hair done, then make an appointment with Lisa. I'll stick her phone number in the description text below this video. But we're going to leave the hairdresser. Well, I'm going to leave the hairdresser in just a moment. But I'll show you some views of the Hotel Residencia. It's a luxury boutique 5-star hotel. We get a lot of celebrities staying here as well. I'm pretty sure if you go onto Google, you can see who those people are. Used to be owned by Richard Branson. I think is it owned by Louis Vuitton now? Yes. Lisa, right. Yeah, and yeah, lots of famous people stay here. But for now, anyway, Lisa's going to finish off my hair, and I'm going to go and jump on the next bus down to Sawyer. And the sun has come out over here in Deia, thank goodness. Check out the views from here, absolutely gorgeous. So I'm down here at the bus stop in Deia. We're going to get the 2:03 bus down towards Port de Sawyer. It's quite a queue here, so I'm hoping that I'm going to get on. Fingers crossed, let's wait and see. And here comes the bus, and it is coming through full. Let's see if anyone gets off. Fingers crossed. Otherwise we won't be going anywhere this afternoon. And once again, the bus empties quite a bit, allowing all the waiting passengers to get on. So I've just had to get off the bus. That really windy road that I came down was pretty bad. I get really car sick actually. So I just wish I could have driven that bus. It was really nice, of course, not to have to drive today, but yeah, that drive made me feel pretty ill. So instead of going straight to Port de Sawyer, we're gonna go and check out Sawyer town first. And then I'm going to show you where to get the bus down towards Port de Sawyer, because the bus that comes from Valldemossa and Deia, it stops on the main road coming down on the outskirts of Sawyer town, but we're going to head on now into the centre. So I'm filming this in May, and well, May is the time when we have the Firo festival over here in Sawyer town. You're going to see these flags. Now, if you're coming from the UK, that is not the England flag. It's actually the Christian flag, and the little half moon crescent there on the other red flag you can see in front of me, that's the Moors flag. And this festival, this Firo festival, celebrates when the Christians took over once again from the Moors many centuries ago. And it's once again when this town really does come alive. So there have been reports in the press actually recently about just how busy Sóller has become, particularly during the time of the Firo festival. They've blocked off many of the parkings here too. So this is another reason why I really cannot stress enough, get the bus up here, forget the hire car, don't bring the hire car, find another way of transport, go by public transport or get the wooden train, but just don't try and drive and park here, no matter what time of year you visit really. So as I'm coming up from the bus station, it's not actually too busy today, but we're entering Plaza Constitución and I think it's going to be a little bit busier. Sóller is always, in my opinion, the busiest old town over here in Mallorca. Let's go and check it out today. And today is no exception. Oh my goodness, it's absolutely packed down here. I have to say the walk coming up here has been really pleasant actually, but the minute you enter Plaza Constitución, you're going to see the hordes and the crowds of visitors. I'm not going to spend too long over here in Sóller town today, but we're going to take a very quick look around. So instead of getting the bus down towards Port de Sóller, don't forget you can get the tram. We're going to just go and have a quick walk up here and see how busy it is. I can see there are hordes of people up here today. Let's go and have a quick look. And actually, just like the public TIB buses as well, you can see that we've still got a big queue of people waiting to get the tram down to Port de Sóller. They're laying on extra trams too to cope with demand, which it looks really good. So of course, if you didn't want to get the public buses over to Sóller, probably the best way to travel if you're a first-time visitor over to Sóller and Port de Sóller is by the Ferrocarril, which you can see behind me. It's the wooden train that comes up from Palma. Now, we've just missed a train coming in today, so we can't see how busy it is, but I can tell you now it's going to be busy because if the winter months have been anything to go by, this train is constantly busy as well. So again, make sure you get your tickets in advance, set off in good time, and also I do have a video on the channel called Top 10 Things to Do and Top 10 Tips to Visiting Sóller. I'll pop a link to that below this video as well. Go and check that out to see all the fantastic things that you can see and do over here in Sóller town. Just coming down into the main square here, you can see how busy Plaza Constitución is today. Don't forget as well, I've got a full guide to Sóller and Port de Sóller on the channel. I'll pop that link below as well. There's lots to see and do here, but for now I'm going to head on back towards the bus station. We're going to head on down towards Port de Sóller. All through the summer as well, don't forget they've got various markets and festivals happening over here in Sóller town. You can see a stage is up here in front of the town hall ready for the Firo festival. If you're coming over later on in the summer, you're bound to see lots going on down here in the port. As I've said before, don't forget to check out my monthly guides. I'll try and let you know what's going on around the island. And oh my goodness me, just check out the absolutely massive queue here to get back to Palma this afternoon. I'm not going to spend long down here in the port because I think this is probably the best place to get on the bus as well. But anyway, go on, let's head on down towards the port. And we've made it down to Port de Soyer, and just look how absolutely gorgeous it is here today. Thank goodness the sun has come out. We've come down off those mountains. Let's go and have a quick look around. You can enjoy maybe a nice hour down here on the beach. Alternatively, you can go and grab an ice cream or maybe go and have some dinner in one of the many cafes as well down here. But of course, the nicer way to come down to Port de Soyer is by the tram, the wooden San Francisco style tram. But my goodness, it is very busy. Now that bus ride only took 5 minutes. And of course, this tram is absolutely packed. Anyway, let's keep walking down through the port. So I'm just outside a random restaurant here down in Port de Soyer waterfront. So I'm just going to run my camera down the menu board here so you can get an idea of prices in the restaurants down here in the port. And over here as well you can see arroces, paella, charging from a minimum of, well, with seafood from €19.80 per person. Okay, so if you're coming over to Port de Soyer, regardless of what day of the week, you're going to find some of the restaurants closed. If you do want to eat a particular seafood restaurant, for example, just check it's going to be open. I'm actually sitting on one of the tables outside of Vint restaurant. It's closed today on a Wednesday. Obviously, staff need a rest day too, but just go and check that out. Now, before we head on back through the port, because I think I might stop for an ice cream on the way back, I just want to talk to you about the excursion that I went on today and how you can do it and how you can plan it too. So I went to Valldemossa. I spent about an hour and a half in Valldemossa having a look around, and I had time for coffee and a coca de patata pastry as well before heading on to Deia. Now I had about 2 hours, just over 2 hours in Deia. If you are visiting Deia, obviously you might not want to be going to the hair salon. Maybe you want to, who knows, but you've got plenty of time to spend time in Deia to go and have some lunch, but also don't forget to go and have a look around at the sites. Too, I've dropped the videos in the description, text below this video, go and check it out. Or you could cut your time short in Deia, you can just walk through the village, walk up to the church as well at the top, and then jump on the bus down towards Soyer town. Go sightseeing around there before coming down here to Port de Soyer, where you can maybe go to the beach, come and get yourself a long lunch or a long evening meal, and watch the sunset from here as well. There's so much to do and see over here. You can really split your time, whether you're spending an hour in one place or a couple of hours in another place, or just waiting to leave here until the evening as well. You're under no time constraints but the last bus out of Port de Soyer goes at, well, I think it's about 11:30 at night, so you can really maximise your time down here. There are also a number of paid for excursions that you can go on as well if you don't want to do the whole waiting for the buses. I have to say I have been impressed today. It has actually been quite a pain-free journey. I wasn't expecting that at all, but I will drop a couple of links for organised excursions that you can take over here if you want to see some of these mountain villages too. But for now, I'm absolutely dying for an ice cream. My throat's really dry. I need to go and get an ice cream, and this is the best place on the island, in my opinion, to find that. So come on, let's go and head on down into the port. Okay, so I couldn't leave Port de Sóller today without stopping off for an ice cream. I'm over here at the Fête de Sóller Cafe. Now, they do amazing ice creams here. Everything here is homemade, and I've got a really nice combo today. I've got raspberry and I've got pistachio, which is actually, the raspberry ice cream is actually really hard to find on the island. I normally come to Sóller and I normally get an orange ice cream, but we're deviating today. We're doing things a bit differently. Okay, so I'm going to have this, and then we're going to head on a little bit further down Port de Sóller, get some nice views before heading on back to the bus stop and back to Palma. So if we keep walking along the promenade here, you're going to end up over at Repic Beach, right at the far end of Port de Sóller. You've got plenty more cafes, bars and restaurants right along the waterfront here. It's also a great place to watch the sunset just a little bit further around the bay too. Just check out the views, so pretty here. And of course, got some lovely walks here in Port de Sóller, the easiest being following the road right along the coast here, all the way up to the lighthouse. I do have a video all about that on my channel, and I shall also link that below.
So let me know in the comments if you will be using the public buses to explore Mallorca this summer. And if you would like to see other itineraries, then check out the videos appearing here on YouTube, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Goodbye for now.